we've seen how to execute a group of tests, and in that case we register a result for each test. But we can use datasets and environments to configure different scenarios for each test execution. Starting with datasets, I can show you a test like the password validity example, where I'm going to use the field password, and if it's valid, from the dataset password is valid. Now if I execute this test, I will have a new section on my run player that is linking the dataset passwords validity data. This dataset comes from the relationship between the test and the dataset. Now for each step on our player, we have the actual value for each row. So right now we are testing the first row, but we can cycle through all rows. We should then register we can register a state for each executing row. If one fails, then the overall test status is also failed. You can go through and continue to register different results for each row. Now, if you decide to change the dataset while during this execution, you can do so by clicking the button and selecting another dataset. Of course, if this dataset doesn't match with the steps content, we will not inject any value. You can also just unselect the dataset, and then you can register results on the test itself. Another way of executing different test scenarios is using environments. So we might run the same group of tests, but for different environments. So we can start a new run, and on the model setup I can select which environment I wish to run. Let's select production. Now, since production has devices, we can also drill down which devices we want to test. If we didn't do any selection, if we don't do a selection, then we are going to run all devices, or we can select a group of devices and only run those. So in the same scenario as previously, now we have a new section called that lists the device, and both devices are being cycled through all executions. So now I can register a state for one device and maybe register another state for the second device. This also combines with datasets. So the password validity test has a dataset associated. Now we cycle both devices and all dataset rows, meaning this test has to be executed 20 times. This way we can control datasets and environments through the listing of devices to execute the same tests in this execution through all combinations of the data.